Welcome, welcome, welcome. So today's Sunday. Oftentimes on a free day like this, people get into their habits. And I'll use the example of watching football all Sunday. When I was 16 and 17, I would look forward to watching football all day. There would be the game at noon, the game at 3:15, and the game at 7 o'clock. And my whole Sunday was consumed by watching the New England Patriots, Minnesota Vikings. And this also happens to people in Europe, what they call football as well. So, just generally, a lot of people around the world, maybe a billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, spend their Sundays watching football. And that for them is like their number one priority. And, it's kind of a silly example, but what are we doing instead on the spiritual path? If we determine what our priority is, a priority deep in the heart, deep in the soul. If you ask your soul, what is my number one priority? Your soul's not going to say football. Your ego could say football, especially for men, poking a little bit of fun at men here for choosing football above everything else. Of course, I did this at 16, 17. But when I was 18, up until now, something else came forward. There was something deeper to life. And I wanted to know the truth of existence. Really, I was willing to put everything ahead of finding out what the heck is the truth of reality. I did not think about what career I wanted, did not think about how I was going to be making my money after college. Didn't really think about what sort of practical major I should have in college. So I studied politics and philosophy in college. Just really took the classes I found most interesting and dove into what I could find was the truth. Then that led to eventually discovering Buddhism, meditation, because the mind can only go so far. A lot of people, instead of watching football, they spend the whole day reading for entertainment or information. Entertainment and information is right here for the head. It's very heady. So sorry, my phone's speaking at me. I thought my Siri was broken, but apparently not when I'm recording. So deeper than that is the heart, is the soul, is the true essence of the body. And putting this first. The truth is the direct experience of reality, of yourself. Of course, you are reality. Of course. Your ego structure is reality, but the stories that the ego creates, of course, is not reality per se. It is an interpretation, projection, a judgment of reality. And of course, for me, I have subtle addictions to coffee entertainment as well, YouTube addictions, exercise addictions. Of course, we all have these addictions. And there's a little bit of truth to each of them. But what is the deeper truth to all these things? The deeper truth in your most quiet moments, the deeper truth in the most stressful times at work. What are the what's always here? What is always here? What is never left? It may seem that love has left, but of course, when you tune into absolute love, unconditional love, you know, unconditional means really it means infinite. So when you feel that abundance of the heart, it's not a knowing of the head, right? The head is going to say, love comes and love goes based off of our cultural belief of what love is, right? That we're in love, then our hearts have broken. You fall in love with that handsome guy on the TV, and then he leaves. Of course, that's just an example. But when we find these truths, these facets of divinity, this eternal peace, the heart, the soul is going to say, yes. Yes, that is what I would die for. Yes, I would risk losing my job, losing my partner, losing my social prestige, my persona, how people perceive me. I'm willing to risk it all. It's like seeing God and you're betting your whole life savings, $100,000, $100 million, whatever it is. Are you willing to put it all on the gambling table of the Lord? Are you willing to reprioritize your life, reorganize your priorities, rediscipline yourself? It's actually, we don't need as much new information as we think in order to begin our spiritual path. The soul, the one mind of yourself, there's one mind, there's only one, and you have it too. I have it. It was that old joke like, everything is one, and so am I. Me too. These things know what it takes for spiritual awakening. The practices, the discipline, the mentality, these things we know deep down, below the ego, below the thoughts, below the emotional heart, below the fear. We know what it takes to spiritually awaken. A gnosis. It's a deep knowing. It's a knowing that is imbued in the universe. You don't need to read a book. In a sense, later on, you do need to read spiritual books to kind of break down the mind, in a sense. Because, yes, you can have these instances, these moments of absolute clarity, spiritual awakening, these moments, these experiences, maybe on a meditation cushion or on a yoga retreat, or when you're in Hawaii, on Hawaii, on a beach, and you're watching the sunset and the waves. You're having these experiences of oneness. And then there's just a knowing of how to reorganize your life so that you're not spending your whole Sundays watching football anymore. You're not waking up every day having that fourth cup of coffee. You're no longer having a burger for lunch and a steak for dinner. You're treating your body as a temple, your heart as unconditional love. You're treating your soul as the doorway to heaven, to the universe, to God. And of course, we can enjoy life too. This doesn't mean I need to treat my humanity like crap. That's an old view. I need to starve myself in order to spiritually awaken. I need to be celibate. I need to step away from my job. I need to move to a monastery. I need to give away all of my possessions. These are old views. God is pushing us to be in life fully, 100% yourself and 100% divine. Going back to the spiritual books, we have these thick mind structures that don't just go away in those instances. They don't just go away from a spiritual retreat or on the beach in Hawaii from those experiences. Those don't cut deep enough to get rid of these old beliefs that are getting stuck in the body. So we need to change our life in order to change the chemistry of our body. Even science says this, right? Like new habits create new patterns in the brain. And of course, this is just the mind, the brain, the body readapting to a new way of seeing reality through a divine reality, becoming a divine being with a human body rather than a human body that has forgotten its divine self. Of course, I am a huge advocate of these big spiritual experiences, but those come and go. The beach on Hawaii comes and goes. And then if you live in Hawaii and you have that every day, it's going to become a pattern, an old pattern, sooner or later. So, how can you reorient your brain, your way of thinking, your habits to align with your soul, with your true heart, with God's plan? What can you do now? What can you do tomorrow? What can you do next year that's going to almost erase the past? Are you willing to not just your financial savings, but your whole story, your whole past, putting that on the gambling table of God and say, Divine Mother, I give myself to thee. Of course, we don't have to lose our money or completely lose our past. Those things will always be with us. But in a sense, you can kind of let go. Let go of the old story. Let go of this idea that your money is even yours in the first place. Right? Money is this energy that is God's energy. It is God's energy. It's God's money coming and going. So using it for your own spiritual journey is what God wants you to be doing, to be going on those retreats, not just one and having one experience, but having it be something you do 4 times a year for the rest of your life, going on retreat, meditating an hour every day, giving up watching football on Sundays, these sorts of things. So just think, what am I willing to give up today? And in its place, what am I willing to start doing to align my life with the divine life, the path that God has ahead of me? Are you willing? How much are you willing to give financially, energetically, time? How much are you willing to give of yourself to the oneness that is divinity for all of us? It's not just my divinity. It's not just your awakening. It's not just the monastery I belong to. It's not just my religion. It's not just my spiritual path, my spiritual sangha. Awakening is one. So, in a sense, divinity is everybody's divinity. It's God's divinity. It's Earth's divinity. Are you willing to join that family? Like I said in our last video, one step towards God, God will take 10 steps towards you. Awakening is infinite. We cannot understand how great it actually is until we find the courage to step forward on the path. I urge you to take this step today. Do not procrastinate your spiritual awakening. The ego is always wanting to kick it down the road. The ego is the old story. Where did the old story lead you to? It's leading us to watching football all Sunday. It's leading us to eating too many burgers. What is your new story going to be? I'm not going to make that for you. That's between you and God, you and life. But there are these basic practices to speed it up, to create more clarity, to create more love in your life. Then your spiritual blueprint will emerge. You'll remember. So please take that step forward. God will rejoice. Humanity will rejoice. Deep down, humanity will rejoice. Maybe not initially, but take this step. Take this step. That's it for today. Thanks for joining. I'll see you next time.